Hello, everyone. Merry Christmas Eve. I'm Danya. I hope that you are enjoying this holiday season with the people that you most care about, your friends and family. But if you're not spending it with anyone, if you're alone, that's okay too. I hope that you're enjoying your own company and that you're happy because that's really what it's all about, being happy. I want to talk about a subject matter that's so vitally important to our lives, and that's making wise decisions. We make hundreds of decisions on a daily basis, some small, some big, but nonetheless, they're all important to the direction of our lives. And I've made so many decisions over my lifetime or to date. And when I think about the mistakes that I've made, they all have something in common. And so I had to sit down and think about, okay, how can I minimize making these mistakes? And so I came up with some steps that I have followed, and they have helped me to make the right decisions. So I can definitely tell you that I'm qualified to give you this advice. So I'm going to get right into it because I don't want this video to be very long. But the first step is number one, pray. When you're making major decisions for your life, decisions like, okay, should I date this person? Should I marry this person? Should I buy a house right now? Should I buy this house? Should I buy a car? Should I take this job? Should I move to this state? You need to know if what you're about to decide is the right decision for your life. Because if you make a mistake, it could be detrimental and take you down a path that you weren't intended to go down. So you want to pray. And sometimes when we think about prayer, we make it a little bit too complicated. Prayer is simply talking to God, just like you talk to your friends, just like you talk to that person that you're in a relationship. And you're simply going to just tell God, you know, God, I don't know what to do, and I need you to help me to make this decision. What should I do? It's as simple as that. God, I want to acknowledge you first. What should I do? Because ultimately, God's plan is the best plan for your life. He's the one that created you, He's the one that can see down the line, and see the results of the decisions that you're making for your life. So he knows what's best for you. So ask him, God, help me to make this decision. And then next, you want to get quiet. It's so important that once you pray that you don't just get up and, start to go about your day, but get quiet. What is it that you're sensing on the inside? What is your inner voice telling you? We've gone through life where our inner voice told us something, and there were times that we didn't follow it and we got ourselves into some trouble. I know I've gotten myself into some trouble, but you want to listen to what are you feeling on the inside, because God is always speaking to us. We're just not always listening. So you want to take the time to get quiet. And I'll give you an example of a decision that I made in my life where I didn't listen like I should have. And it was in 2015. Oh my gosh. And I was living in a certain apartment community that I loved. I loved the area. I loved my apartment. But I started thinking about, if I move, I could save so much more money. And so immediately I got on my phone and I started doing some research, and I found this one apartment community that was about 20 minutes from where I lived. And when I saw the rent, I thought, oh my gosh, I can save an additional $300 to $400 a month. And that just sounded good to me. Even though I was happy where I was, I started thinking about the money. So I jumped up, I drove to that apartment community, and even though I didn't love it, it was definitely, in terms of quality, it was a few steps below where I was living at the time. But I thought to myself, I can deal with this for a little while just to save all this money. So, I met with the leasing consultant, and he showed me the apartment, which again, it was just okay, but I thought I can bear this. And then we went back to the leasing office and I sat down, we were sitting at his desk, or I was sitting in front of his desk, and immediately I heard on the inside, hold up, slow down. Don't do anything. Don't sign anything yet. Don't move forward with this yet. I heard it clearly. I sensed it. And unfortunately, I moved ahead anyway because I think in that moment he had already shown me the apartment. I'm sitting down in front of him and I just felt like I should just move forward with this. But unfortunately, I should not have done that. And to make a long story short, I ended up moving in that apartment 6 months after I moved in. I was getting ready on a Sunday morning. I opened my bedroom door and I saw a dark black bug that had to be about this size crawling across my floor. And in that moment, it was so surreal. I literally felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. I could not believe it. And anybody who knows me knows that I cannot do bugs. I just absolutely cannot. And so again, to not extend this story, it turned to a situation where I began dealing with roaches. I mean, it was a gradual process. I was dealing with the big ones, then they turned into babies, and babies turned into toddlers turned into teenagers, and so on and so on. And I dealt with this for probably 3 or 4 months. And thank God I prayed about it, and God got me out of that situation. But it was a tough lesson to learn. I learned that when that inner voice, when God is speaking to me and he's saying, Danya, hold up, don't do this, slow down, I need to listen. And that was a situation that obviously I got out of it okay, and I'm still alive. It wasn't a deadly situation, but there are times when it is a deadly situation and someone can lose their life if they don't make a smart decision. So definitely, going back to number 2, get quiet and listen to what God is telling you. Listen to your inner voice. And then once you do that, number 3 is make a decision. At that point, you have to decide, whether it's looking at several options, pick one. You One thing a wise person told me is that you can't direct a parked car. Your GPS, that person on your GPS doesn't start talking until you start driving. So God can't guide you in your decisions until you start moving in a direction. Make a decision. And again, see how you're feeling on the inside once you make that decision. If you feel peace about it, that's going to be the right decision. But if you don't feel peace about it, you need to stop and revisit what the options are. And then last is follow peace. Once you make that decision, if you feel peace about it, then that's the direction that you want to go in. Because anytime something is right for you, you're going to feel absolute peace about it. And another thing I want to talk about real quick is, now when you're making a decision, it doesn't mean that you're not going to be nervous about it because it's something new. You're deciding to take on a new job. Sure, you're going to be nervous about it, but underneath that nervousness should be excitement and peace. So if you feel nervous, but you feel peace about it, that's okay. But if you feel a lack of peace, that is not the right decision. Now, what does that feel like? A lack of peace feels like, I don't know, it doesn't feel right on the inside. There's something uneasy going on inside of you where you're like, I'm not sure if this is the right thing to do. And it takes practice. It takes trial and error to get to the point where you know that that inner voice is telling you to do the right thing. But you have to go for it. I mean, you ultimately have to make a decision. But my suggestion to you is to follow the peace. If it feels right, that's probably the right thing to do. But if you feel uneasy about it, if you feel really confused about it and you're just going back and forth, it's probably not the right decision. So I hope this was helpful to you. If you have questions, put them in the comments. But I plan to come out with more videos that give you provide guidance to your life and just advice from these 52 years that I've had on this earth. So please like, subscribe, and comment. I will definitely respond to your comments and your questions because this is such an important area, and you want to make sure that as you're traveling through this life, that you are minimizing the disappointments and the heartbreaks and the pain, and you can do that by making wise decisions. So thank you for listening. I will see you next time, and have a Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.